Yo, what's up guys? Bill here, Classic Rock and Metal Review. Time for a little monthly haul action. This one, real barn burner, man. July 2024 edition. Now, I've been telling you there was going to do an edition of this, just a random 12-item pickup between a record store and eBay purchases. But since then, I've gotten 9 more things. So I'm just going to fold that right into this July 2024 edition of the monthly haul. So it's a total of 21 new to me items. Also got around to listening to about 7 of the things I've got in the last few months. I may or may not have shown you them. I hadn't heard them until recently. So, like I told you, I've been doing a lot of listening lately to regular albums, not as many bootlegs at the moment. Finally, we'll go over some old stock recent listens that I've been listening to, really just focusing on one band, and otherwise these other 21 releases to show you. Got a great six-pack from a record store, going back a couple weeks now. All right, the Rock Shop. Also, that pickup, by the way, included a box set, brand new sealed, a couple sealed vinyl albums, 3 really cool metal CDs. From eBay, a nice 5 for $15 with free shipping pickup. More recently, another 6 for under 20 off of eBay. And a single CD that I've been after for years finally came down to a reasonable price and snapped one up. Also, some CD singles, a box set sampler, little something for everyone here, really. Classic rock, funk, southern rock, metal, little jazz, some singer-songwriter stuff. If you've watched the channel before, you know it's a real mixed bag. So the usual in that way coming at you. So today I'm trying something a little different. Now this stuff, man, this will put some hair everywhere. Some extra spicy Bloody Mary mix. It actually choked me the other day. I hope I put enough lime in here to tolerate it. That would be a no. Holy cow. All right, I'm going to have to doctor that up in some way. Jesus. All right, so let's start with this eBay 5 for $15. Now this dude was doing CDs for $3 each. But if you bought 5, it was free shipping. And luckily, that's exactly what I found. And that's all I found. Thank God it wasn't 6, because there really wasn't a 6th one I wanted out of this guy's list. Roughly 100 things. Believe it or not, I've never owned this album. At least I don't think I did. Tommy by The Who, 1969 classic. Who, not among my favorite bands of all time. But lately, they really have been. I don't know what's going on. I'm just suddenly getting really into The Who. Started about a year ago with that concert video, San Diego. So what we got here is an early MCA disc, a BMG version, but I don't care about that. I know some people are, it's a BMG versus a standard. I really don't care. Nice lyric booklet in here. It was also a 2-disc version, but apparently that mix or remaster, whatever you want to call it, was the same exact one as a single disc. And I think it's a 73, 74 minute disc or so. So anyway, this album, I'm really digging this album. I listened to this thing twice driving around. I listened to it once and I just let it start over again. So it's really kind of cool here, and this is a first impression review, all right, I admit. But really cool hearing Keith Moon, an animal behind the kid. Kind of playing, you know, sort of tempered, I guess you'd say. And then his old self in certain places. And, you know, it's just a great album. These songs were sticking in my head for days and days, you know. Good one there. One of the better sounding versions from what I read online, too. I think there's only one that's purportedly better than that one. So, Steely Dan, I'm a big Steely Dan fan, but I never owned I think this was their last album, Everything Must Go, 2003 on Reprise. The only Dan album I didn't own. Now, I would say, is it good? Yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of, I would say, along the lines of Donald Fagen's Kamakiriad, which I had when it was new in '93. It's more along the lines of something like that than classic Steely Dan. But I really liked Kamakiriad, so this one I thought was a pretty good album, you know. And I've only heard it, did I hear it twice? Maybe. I heard it once and I think I got it on a little more than halfway a second listen. I like it. Commodores, In the Pocket from 1981 on Motown. Now, I own a 2-CD compilation of the Commodores, but this is the first regular album of those that by those guys that I own. Lionel Richie's last album with them, 1981, before he launched that solo career that exploded. a pop career, really. Nothing really much in the way of funky, the way that he was with Commodores. Now, the Commodores themselves probably trending towards pop by this point as well. And, of course, you still got Lionel in there doing a good amount of the songwriting. So, still some funk detectable here and there, though. Lady, If You Bring Me Up, that's a great song, big hit for them. Another song that was a ballad called Oh No. You would know it if you heard it right away. I didn't recognize it by the title, but I would have thought that was actually a Lionel Richie solo song. I didn't realize it was still Commodore's territory for that one. But man, there was another really good song on here. It's Saturday Night. One of these other songs is really good, and there's a few more pretty good ones on here too, and a clunker or two. But there's only 8 songs. 5 or 6 really good songs on this record. Nice little pickup. You don't usually find a lot of these standard regular albums in these people's eBay lists. It's always anthologies and greatest hits. So when I get a chance to pick up a regular album, always cool to do. Now here's someone's first solo album, John Oates' Funk Shui, 2002 on this one. Rhythm and Groove Records released this one. I knew he had some solo albums out. I did not realize it was on the funky side, and I knew it when I bought this one. I just, in my head from the past, just figured his solo stuff was going to be more in the pop rock vein. Now, I'm going to be honest. Number one, I did read a few reviews of this just to see what was up with it before I threw it in that eBay shopping cart. A lot of the reviews said, oh wow, it's so great to hear him doing funk and all. This album is not that funky to me. It just isn't. It's got more of a rhythm and soul vibe going on. It's kind of adult contemporary. I don't know if the songs are really all that great. There are some really good songs. Overall, this album's got how many on here? 11 songs. About half or less to me. Really good first impression anyway. I only listened to it once, but I was pretty underwhelmed by the whole funk sort of label that this thing's tagged with. And I guess deservedly so with the title like that, but it's just not that funky, I mean, that Commodore's album is way funkier than this album. So, I don't know. I'll need another listen to that for sure. Last of the 5-pack from eBay, Dan Fogelberg's Windows and Walls, 1984 CBS Sony release. I had this like 30 years ago. It was actually in a truck of mine that got stolen. And I really only recalled a handful of good songs on this thing, I have to tell you. The title track and a couple of others. But I admit, I'm wrong. I was wrong about that. Now, I don't know how many times I had heard it back then, but I'm sure at least once or twice. Got to revisit that review, okay? Because this is a solid album. Really. I mean, there's the title track, the opening track, Language of Love. Very sort of Tom Petty-ish, mid-tempo rocker. The title tracks I always loved, Windows and Walls. Tucson, Arizona, Gazette, another really solid song. A little bit of a sort of Mexican influence and that guitar in the background. I wouldn't be surprised if that's Dan himself. This guy is just a multi-instrumentalist. I don't think he has any help writing any of his songs. And what I really like about this is from its 1984, it might as well have been from 77, 78, 79. It really doesn't, it's almost like he's resisting change, and that's a damn good thing, Who wants to sound like 84 and 84 when you could sound like you're still late 70s? Because lots of great stuff from Dan in the 70s, and this one from the 80s as well. So I'm really happy I picked that up. That was almost kind of like I want that back since I lost it kind of thing, but now it's actually a great album. So there's the 5 for 15, a nice mix of stuff. Now the single CD pickup that I got off of eBay, something I've been after for a long time. It's always costly. At least $40, $50 on up. I've seen it as high as $75 or $100. So finding it for $15 and then, $5 for shipping or whatever. It's the Indigo Girls and Allman Brothers band, a split sort of CD here. Live at Club R&R, an acoustic evening with both of those bands. 7 songs from each. So kind of sort of filling out my Elements collection, getting closer to it anyway. And 7 songs acoustic set. Now it's from, I think, 1992. I want to say June 11th. And that's where it is at the Radio and Records Convention, Los Angeles. And June 11th of 92. So cool little set. You got most of what was on Unplugged. Come on to my Kitchen 7 Turns, Midnight Rider. But you got Southbound and Memory of Elizabeth Reed's pretty awesome on here. Going Down the Road, and then finally Melissa. So about half of what was on Unplugged and half not. So pretty cool. I do have to admit, after I already got this, realized there's another fuller version of this show out there. So quest continues. But happy to get that and give that a good listen. It was pretty cool to listen to. I happen to be reading, of course, the Story of Brothers and Sisters. So I think it's official. The Allman Brothers Band are my official band of the summer of 2024. Now, on to the next record store run. Went to this place called the Rock Shop, not too far from me. Oh, it's about a half hour away. On to a great half dozen pickups from there. Let's begin in my favorite realm, the bargain bin. Got 3 awesome CDs. The Rock Shop does buy 2, get 1 free. Nothing in the rock section, but I wandered over to the metal section. There's never usually anything there. Found a couple of great pickups. Let's start with Paul Di'Anno, Wrathchild, the Anthology. It's on Deadline Music from 2012. I think there was also a 2022. This version here, I guess a repress. Got both dates on it, actually. Cleopatra's also on the back of that CD. I think it's also getting another re-release pretty soon. Great collection of redone early Maiden and classic rock and metal covers. I own nothing from Di'Anno, so this is my first sort of album from him. And cool way to launch into it, I think, you know. I can appreciate these covers. They really have their own sort of style to them, faithful enough to Paul Di'Anno's sound, you know, the sound that he does when he's doing the Maiden, his versions of the Maiden songs. And fortunate, very fortunate, I think, bargain bin find here. Why I always look in these damn bargain bins. This was only going for $4 anyway. If I didn't find anything else, straight up purchase for sure. And came across this other band that happened to be right next to the Di'Anno CDs. Now I might have heard of these guys maybe once, but seeing them on festival posters, lists of bands playing festivals, that kind of thing. October 31. Now, they had 2 different CDs. They just looked cool enough to me. They gave me a good vibe where I just picked them up and bought them both. I listened to actually one song from the first album that I picked up in the store on YouTube. And I'm talking like 30 seconds of it. And decided it was just cool enough to buy both of these CDs. So this first one called The Fire Awaits You. Now I can tell you guys, I am not a 90s metal guy, you know. But later on, after I had bought these, what I read about these guys were that they essentially got together in 1995. They're from Virginia. They were on a mission to make old school 80s metal, basically. So, you know, I guess I'm getting a little into 90s bands, but especially if you're one that's going to make music like the 80s, you know. So that they do. Very heavy, lots of Slayer influence, I'd say. The vocals, maybe a little more controlled, not as much screaming, but the voice of the singer here sounds a lot like Tom Araya. And stylings of Slayer, you know, that thick, almost fuzz tone to the guitar that's a little different than Slayer's more direct, sort of metallic sound, I'd say. But man, these guys are not afraid to change tempos, you know, and rhythms at any time during a song. Really keeps things interesting. Most of the rhythms they come up with are really cool. Good, solid, hard metal album here. If you like Slayer, I can't see you not liking these guys, for sure. They almost change things up a little too much. So sometimes they'll be in the middle of a great rhythm. They just changed to 20 seconds earlier. You kind of can't get enough of it. And they switch things up anyway, you know. So it's almost like, damn, I wish they would have just kept playing what they were playing. But really not afraid to keep things interesting, for sure. So this was actually their full-length debut, The Fire Awaits You. And they were a 3-piece at this point. This version here includes a demo they did in '96 called Voyage to Infinity. There's also a couple of tribute songs here, one by Ozzy, one by Iron Maiden, and really cool product, man. Nice, you know. The other one called Bury the Hatchet, this one from 2014, and damn if it doesn't sound exactly like the first album from, what, 17 years earlier. Really good heavy stuff. They're a 5-piece by this point. If you're looking for, like I said, a band in the mold of Slayer, Metal Church, that realm, these guys are still active, best I can tell. I don't know if they've done any gigs in the last few years. Not sure about that, but supposedly still active. Okay, October 31, some great stuff and new stuff, completely new to me. And on to, we're still in the rock shop. We left the CD bin, hitting the vinyl bin. They have a clearance bin there. Mostly tends to be leftover record store day stuff, but not always. So it takes a while to look through this bin. It's pretty big. But did dig up a couple things, and everything in this bin's half off. So started with, came across Rolling Stones' Dirty Work. You know, I thought this album was from 1984. It's actually 86. I think it would make more sense that it would be 84 with this neon look. I don't remember that being an 86 thing, but nevertheless, really good record, and I kind of forgot how good they still were by this point, really. I'll take this over their later stuff any day of the week, really. This sounds like as good as Undercover, really underrated, and probably just plain overlooked album by the Stones, and it's a really good album. And there's only a couple songs on here that I don't think are really, really good. It's damn solid, you know. I remember that Harlem Shuffle video, kind of a turn off to people at the time. I watched that video the other day just for old time's sake. It's actually a pretty cool video. I love the band, looks cool, man, dressed all in black. You know, behind Mick in his Roger Rabbit purple suit he's wearing. But the rest of the band looks pretty damn cool. Overall, like I said, this album pretty damn cool. 2018 remaster, all right, half-speed remaster per the hype sticker up there, and I like that it still has the old school hype sticker down in the corner there. Nice little pickup. This one I haven't heard on vinyl yet, but for whatever the hell reason, I wasn't sure if I still had it or even had it on CD, which I did. So I yanked this off the shelf and for whatever the hell reason threw the CD on. So I still need to get to my, I was going to say Harlem Shuffle, my Dirty Work vinyl album. In the same bin right next to it, another $15 vinyl album, sealed, Undercover from 83. Now, as you can see on the back shelf there, I already own it, but that's an old school copy I got used a few years ago for a couple of bucks. Nice to just pick up a brand new sealed vinyl, you know, remaster and all. $15. How do you gotta pass that up, right? Did play this one. Sounds good. A couple little clicks and pops. I mean, I didn't clean it off before I played it. I don't know if that's part of the recording. Hopefully just a little dust on there. No big deal. I'm not a huge vinyl fan. Just kind of cool to pick something up once in a while. And then last thing, picked up at the rock shop. I almost paid $20 for this on eBay a couple of times. Used. Supposedly good condition. And passed when the bidding got up to 25, you know, because with shipping you're talking 30. And here's why you got to just have a little patience, man. Get what you want for how much you want. Because here, sitting in the rock shop, Lynyrd Skynyrd box set, sealed, brand new, basically a vintage box set at this point, right? Came out in 91, I believe, but still was in print into the late 90s at the very least. I'm not really sure when it went out of print, but it's sealed and it's 20 bucks. That's how you do it. Get a hype sticker with it, and the Skynyrd 30 up there sticker too. So obviously not a 1991 thing with that sticker on there, but who cares? It's all the same material. Mainly after this for that first disc full of rarities, demos, things like that. And I think if I remember right, the other discs, there's 2 more discs altogether, 3 total. You get a couple nuggets on the other 2 discs as well. So this should be a cool little thing to delve into at some point. I went and listened to a couple of the songs on YouTube, a couple of the demos. So there's some good stuff on there in the way of their sort of bonus tracks from that guy. That's how you do it. Guys, everything I just showed you, 95 bucks all in. Bargain bins, eBay, people selling lots, and patience. All right, they're the 3 things you need to score big time for not too much money. All right, another eBay used 6 for 19 or 20 bucks this batch came in, including 2 double discs in Fat Boy cases that were the same damn price as the regular discs. I think 2 1/4 each. All right, some classic rock here from 69 to 83 and a various artists concert. Yet another eBay dumpster dive that I think was pretty damn successful. This one would be a recoup from a cassette I used to have at CCR, Willie and the Poor Boys. All right, one of 3 albums these guys put out in 1969 alone. Okay, less than 3 months after they released Green River in August, this one comes out. I think it's October 29th of 69. And used to have this one on cassette. That's just insane, man. I mean, 11 weeks later, you have a whole new album out. Man, come on. It's just, everything was better back then, wasn't it? I mean, just amazing. Now I used to love this album. Now, the only 3 albums from CCR I ever owned, and still to this day. The first one, great. Cosmo's Factory, another great one. And Willie and the Poor Boys, I'd also have to say, is great. Now, it's got a few hits on there I'm totally sick of. Fortunate Son, and title track's okay. Not as sick of that one. What else? Thought there was one more, a Midnight Special, but that's decent too. But man, my bread and butter on this album, It Came Out of the Sky, great rocker. Cotton Fields is kind of a cool acoustic thing. Feelin' Blue, man, love that one. Just a slow little romp. It's electric, it's bluesy, great song. Don't Look Now, that's okay. Effigy, awesome song, man. You know, anything Government Mule's gonna cover must be pretty damn good. So there's a great little pickup. Another one from The Who. Now, I used to own this one, and I played it a few times. I just never got into it, back in like the early 90s. So I got The Who Quadrophenia back. Double CD, and what do you know, a Fat Boy case that's not cracked somewhere. So that's kind of nice. I'm just a sucker for these things. And looking forward to this one, you know. I just got through the Who's Tommy a couple times. That was great. This will be fun to listen to again after a long time. Moving along to 1980, a couple albums from 80 actually. Jackson Browne's Hold Out, another cassette that I used to own, back in my hands, this one on CD, and you can tell this is an old CD. The damn thing feels like it weighs more than that Fat Boy box. Hold Out. Now, I haven't listened to the whole thing. I got through half of it, or a little more than I got past Boulevard, so I still need to hear the back end of this guy. But man, this is a really damn good record. You know, and it's so much, again, kind of like reminds me of that Fogelberg, you know, from 84. This one sounds like it could have been made in the 70s, you know. Of course, you got Boulevard, the big hit off of this one, but what else was great? Disco Apocalypse was a really good song. That Girl Can Sing's awesome. That was kind of a hit too. Hold Out is great. Now, looking forward to the back end of the record, like I said, but I heard most of that, and it's really good. I only got that cassette in the later days of my cassette collecting, so I never really played it a whole hell of a lot. Another solo album from 1980, Steve Winwood's Ark of a Diver. You can see it back there on the shelf on vinyl. That was a used pickup. Nice to have it to drive around with now. Now you're getting a real sort of synth pop. Still has that sort of soul influence to it. 77 debut, solo-wise from Steve. Not very memorable. I have that on vinyl too, but I've only listened to it once or twice. You know, the songwriting's just not there, I don't think, on that record. So this one, solidly sort of modern sounding, all right? And I would say sort of a solo album version of John Barleycorn. Everything's done on the synthesizer. The bass, the keyboards, of course, themselves, and even some of the guitar solos sound like they're being done on a synthesizer. And there is a little bit of regular guitar on there and such. Very modern, synth-driven record, as you guys know. There's some hits on here. While You See a Chance, Ark of a Diver, you could say is a minor hit too. Spanish Dancer. I'm actually still need to hear, I think I heard Night Train, and still need to hear Dust off of this one. Really good record. I'm not sure which one's better, Hold Out or Ark of a Diver. They're both really good. It's almost like Steve was just biding his time, 77 to 80, waiting for the disco apocalypse, basically. So, on to 1983, Molly Hatchet. The only thing I have from these guys is a compilation. So, No Guts, No Glory. I think it's their 5th studio album. They have original singer Danny Joe Brown back in the fold. They do have a new rhythm section on this record. Sounds very much like most other Molly Hatchet to me, you know, and that compilation I got, I think, covered the first 4 albums. So, good, solid record. A little poppy, a little southern sounding rock, and some of the stuff's really hard rock, like borderline metal, you know. So real mix of good classic rock, I guess you'd call it at this point. Another CD case that weighs more than 3 others, you know. So definitely a vintage release. Plus that collector's choice cover. That's a classic. Now, what the hell made CBS do this with certain albums? Or, got a few of these, I think, from Chicago and stuff. All right, finally, guys. One more to show you in that batch. Sorry. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Concert 4. Double CD, another from that half dozen batch off of eBay, and another Fat Boy jewel case. Now, I was really been after this for years for the couple of Allman Brothers performances on here, which I have this show on video. It looks like about the same set list, actually, on the video. Allman's do Blue Sky and One Way Out. It's a concert from 1995. Now, I think the Hall of Fame actually opened up. Was it even open yet, or did it open a year or two earlier, or something like that? I don't know, but this was the Concert 4, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Lots of different artists, and, it was not something you'll throw on when you want to do some serious listening, but I think I was doing dishes and cleaning up my living room, throw it on. It's a good enough listen for those kind of situations. Now, I haven't got to the Allmans yet. I've only listened to disc 1. Mellencamp, Melissa Etheridge, Pretenders, James Brown's in there. Nice mix of stuff. It really is. The Iggy Pop one here kind of stood out. Him doing Backdoor Man with Soul Asylum. That's a really cool performance there. And I'm not a Iggy Pop guy. I don't know anything from him. That one stands out. We got some Bruce coming up on disc 2, some Booker T, Dylan, Jackson Brown. So there you go. Another 6 CDs. Those last 6 were less than $20 on eBay. Finally, on to another 10 things from the past few months that I'm finally getting around to listening to. Rainbow's first album. I don't know if I showed you this one or not. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Now, I used to have this taped off my cousin, back in the day, and that's long gone. So I haven't heard this in decades. And it's right about what I remember. I listened to it a bunch of times back at that point. This album's got some really good songs and some others kind of forgettable. Green Sleeves is awesome. Man on the Silver Mountain, of course. Black Sheep of the Family, that's okay. Catch the Rainbow's pretty good. Still I'm Sad's pretty good. I don't even remember much about the other songs, honestly, but it's a decent album, not what they would become, as you all know. Stating the obvious there with that one. I gave a listen to the Scorpions' Taken by Force, got this a few months back. Really good album. The overall first impression of this for me, you can kind of feel that they're transitioning to a more sort of streamlined kind of a sound, I think you would say. And not that that's a bad thing. It's still some good quality songs on here. Sales of Sharon, man. I love that freaking song. But I have to hear this one again. I only heard it once. I don't want to say too much about it other than I liked it a lot. You can hear them veering towards what they would be doing a couple years later. Kind of starts there, as far as I can tell. And coming up, guys, I'm going to do another classic rock and metal review version. I did one for Born Again. I'm going to do a Blizzard of Oz. The ultimate Blizzard of Oz. That's what I'll call it from now on, all right? And tracked me down. Of course, this goes back a few months ago. Early press of Blizzard of Oz. So you got to start with the best source of the original album first. And then I'm going to be tweaking it, changing the order a little bit, throwing some B-sides and things on there. Keep your heads up for that. That should be kind of fun. I've got 5 albums altogether I want to do that for, or 4 more besides Born Again. So that'll be cool. Gave a listen to The Who, It's Hard, got this a few months back. And this seems to be kind of a unique version of this CD. If you go on Discogs, you don't see anything with yellow print there on the song titles. Original Warner, I guess, Pretty good album. It's kind of a haves and have-nots. I really like the songs I like, and I don't care much for the songs I don't. Although I only listened to it once, so don't want to throw too much of an opinion out there with that one. Other than to say it's good, some songs are excellent, and others you don't even care about hearing them again anytime soon. But one listen. I never trust my first listen impression. Now, Flotsam and Jetsam, I used to have this taped off someone back in the day. Doomsday for the Deceiver, got this a few months ago. And you know what? I kind of was hoping I'd like it more. I kind of like it about as much as I did back in the day. Sometimes your opinions just don't change. It's speed metal. Not a lot of change up in the sort of tempos of these songs. They just start out one fast tempo and just stay that way the whole damn time. And it's not my favorite kind of music, I guess you'd say, but especially when it comes to metal. I like some changes and things to keep you kind of interested. when it just plows ahead at the same speed the whole time. Most of the songs do that. That's kind of where this is. Now, it's not bad. It's just a lot of it, it's really probably the definition of speed metal. And that speed is the #1 ingredient to the songs, you know. So, not my favorite sort of brand of metal, but still cool. I got to hear it and have it back, hear it once in a while. On to 1988, 38 Special. This one I've had for years, sitting on that back wall. I'm making an effort to try to get to some of that library back there that's been sitting there for multiple years unlistened to. This one called Rock and Roll Strategy. Now, I thought this was actually 90 or something. It's 88. It's got a soft rock hit on there called Second Chance. Well, you know what? I'm not giving this a second chance. I hate this album. I don't say that too often, as you guys know. You can probably tell by the variety of stuff on this channel. I'm pretty open to a lot of different styles. But this is 80s crap to me. And I'm torn right now between taking it to the record store and selling it to them and just throwing it up in the air right now. Although I don't want to give this CD the pleasure of damaging anything on that back wall or even my floor for that matter. So I don't like this thing. It's just, it sucks. That's my opinion on that album. Now, I didn't get all the way through it, but pretty much all the way through it. I might have just skipped 1 or 2 songs. I don't need to hear anymore. I couldn't torture myself anymore. The worst that the 80s has to offer is right there. And what's a damn shame is it's a damn good band that turned into that, you know. Now, I don't know what they did after that. I saw them in concert a few years ago. It was fun, good, rockin' show. That, I just don't like at all. Just, that's all I'm going to say. I'm getting a little too damn worked up. Let me take a sip here. All right, little Ice Cube action. Helping that situation now. I'm not choking on my own saliva. Nice little pickup, a couple little cool pickups the last few days. Allman Brothers. I've always wanted the sampler from the box set Dreams. Here's another awesome deal. I got these next 3 CDs for 10 or 12 bucks, including shipping, off of Discogs. What a great little 7-song sampler this thing is. I think Dreams is the best box set ever released. Now, I know a lot of those rarities, and there weren't exactly hundreds of them on there. After the first disc, not a whole ton of rarities on that box set. But overall, man, that box set just kills. It's only fitting that I own this sampler. All right, you get a nice 7 songs from it. Runs about 35 minutes or so. All right, Statesboro Blues, an outtake from the Idlewild sessions. That became sort of the lead single to this box set. They did a video for it and everything. Morning Dew, you got some pre-Allman stuff there. That's, what a great song that is. Outskirts of Town, I think that one's from Ludlow Garage. Cool. You got Blue Sky from Eat a Peach, Ramblin' Man from Brothers and Sisters, One Way Out. This was previously unreleased. It's out there now as the bonus disc on the Brothers and Sisters Super Deluxe. And Rain, previously unreleased song, the Beatles song, but Greg doing it with like this choir and everything, 1985. It's such an awesome version. Best version of Rain I ever heard is Greg's version right here. So, one of 3 CDs I picked up for 10 or 12 bucks off Discogs. So that's the first one. The second one, another Allmans. By the way, they're all Allmans. 7 Turns, the promo single. You get just the title track and an edited version of the title track. So I picked up a few of these promo CD singles from the Allmans a few years back. And I'm just on a mission right now to get the rest of them. There's about a dozen. Once I get them all, I'm going to do a whole little separate episode. I'll go through them all. And also found Bad Rain. So this is just the album version from Shades of Two Worlds. No front cover with that guy. It only came out with this back and side cover kind of deal. So just the basic song, and it's, you know, I guess it was a single. I'm not even sure. Sometimes these promo CD singles weren't necessarily singles that charted or had an accompanying vinyl version of it. So sticking with the promo situation, a couple more that I got not too long ago actually and finally listened to. Bowie's Sound and Vision promo disc. On the side it reads the CD press release from his box set. I think that's from 90. There's the back cover. All right, nothing printed on that. But on the CD itself, Round and Round, the Chuck Berry cover, which I always loved this version off of there. Round and Round's cool. And then Kurt Loder basically just reading you the MTV news about this release. It's 3 or 4 minutes tops. And it actually sounds like it was taped off television. It sounds crappy, really does. But kind of cool, and I haven't heard Kurt Loder do a news report decades, so that was kind of a blast from the past. Just talking about that it's going to be out on CD and cassette, and here's the date, and it's going to include these songs and rarities, yada yada. The sound quality on the Kurt Loder stuff, pretty bad, but cool. I picked that up for $2, by the way, so that was a good one. And then listen to the entire Lindsey Buckingham Words and Music. This was a promo for the Out of the Cradle album, 92. Little cross section of Lindsey material going back to Buckingham Nicks on up to Out of the Cradle, and little interview snippets in between. Not really interviews. There's no interviewer. Just Lindsey talking. And it sounds like he's answering questions, but the questions have been edited out, sort of thing. So this is a cool one. And you got a couple of his songs that are kind of rare to, Holiday Road and things like that on here. So it's pretty cool. Now he's got to release 3 solo albums plus a disc of rarities coming out soon. That's in my Amazon cart. I hope to grab that at some point. Remastered. And these days, remasters matter. They do a good job with them in most cases. Now, just a couple last few things. Got to chatting it up about Rainbow. This is probably going back at least a month ago, but talking to Buddy Larry at this point. Dude, we're talking about some Rainbow and talking about live stuff and all, but made me dig out my regular albums, and the only versions I have of Long Live Rock and Roll is the deluxe edition, so I threw this on a couple random tracks. Really good album. I don't know, man, I'm right there with, I guess Rising's better, but I have this right on its heels. I just kind of really like some of the songs on Long Live Rock and Roll. Lady of the Lake, that's friggin' awesome. Gates of Babylon, Kill the King. This is The Shed. This album probably doesn't get as much notice or attention as it does, just because, I don't know, Stargazer's on Rising, so Stargazer and Rising win. I don't know about that. This is a freaking good album, man. Couple of clunkers, I'm not into LA Connection at all. But, man, everything I just listed, solid. Threw on a little bit of this today, but going back a few weeks ago. Of course, Rising. Got to play that. And this deluxe edition has a New York mix and LA mix. Man, that New York mix is hissy, man. Now, the LA mix is really good. One other version of this I have on CD. I got this for half price off RZ. It was like $7. Original Japanese 1976 album. So a needle drop on this one, and it is on a silver press, even though it came in just a slimline case. You just got to buy it, right? Even got some pictures on this inner cover here of the Japanese version of the album. So I threw this on today and did a little side-by-side with those 2 versions on the deluxe. I'd probably give the edge, honestly, to the LA mix in the deluxe edition, even over this Japanese needle drop. They're pretty close, but I think I kind of like that better. You do hear some clicks and pops. This is a legit needle drop. You can hear the vinyl here and there. Not a bad thing. I don't mind hearing it. It's kind of cool hearing it, actually. Guys, that's going to wrap it up. There's a barn burner of an episode for you. 21 new titles. I think another 9 recent pickups that I just got around to listening to. And man, you see why? Haven't been listening to a lot of bootlegs or watching a lot of videos. A lot of serious album, straight up regular album listening going on in this house. You know what? I got 2 more things arriving today. Another box set on the way. See what's going on in August, but it's looking pretty damn promising so far. Everyone, grab your extra spicy Bloody Mary mix and drink it. All right, guys, I'll catch you later. Have a good rest of your day.